I'm Stephanie Simpson. I am the founder of BoyWellness, and welcome to Why Carrying Narcan in Your Teen Son's Car is the Ultimate Act of Love. Congratulations for being here. This is a hard topic, and you just showing up shows how much you care for your son and how want to help find safe ways to help him walk through childhood, teens, and adulthood. This presentation is going to be science-based, and I'm also going to share for me personally why this is important. One, we've always had an open conversation with our children about Narcan and fentanyl, and that conversation really began in middle school when kids started really bringing their own candy to school. We had an agreement as a family that you did not take candy from somebody unless that you saw them open the package due to the fact that we were starting to see fentanyl in things that look like candy in middle schools. When they turned 16, we talked about having Narcan in their cars, that if they were responsible enough to drive a car, they were responsible enough to carry this life-saving device with them. We did start talking about combining this to fentanyl and Narcan during those freshman, sophomore years. Before they got their license. My oldest got his license quite late into his sophomore year. I never thought actually that he would have to use it. We have a saying in our family that if you have a plan, most likely you will not need a plan. He did actually use Narcan on a friend at the end of his senior year when they were exploring a little bit more. And he says today he will never go anywhere without having Narcan on him because you absolutely never know. And of course, the young man who was struggling, there was no history of addiction or drug use, which is common, especially for younger kids. So Narcan truly can save lives, and this presentation and educating your son can do the same. So thank you for being here. We kind of discussed this, right? Like this is a really hard truth. This is a real, part about reality, and it should be discussed just like we discuss drunk driving around prom. We all know a lot of the statistics, and you especially know them if you're joining us today. But there's quite a surge in fentanyl in lots of different things. We know that fentanyl is hiding everywhere, and that teens can't, one, identify counterfeit pills, let alone identify if there's fentanyl in a pill. And that first time users are at higher risk. This one always really surprises me because their body has a lack of any opioid tolerance. And that 52% of overdoses happen with a peer present. And that is really important. One, because my son can either help somebody who is overdosing or they can watch their friend die. Both are traumatic. One is obviously way more traumatic. And so, why Narcan? Narcan is the brand name of the medication that you can use, and it's going to block the receptors from the opioids getting to the brain. This is one of my favorite things about Narcan is that it only works on opioids, and you cannot like, cause harm by using it. It's safe if the person doesn't have any opioids in their system. It doesn't do anything to them. And I just think that that is absolutely phenomenal as we educate our teens about it. It is administered in the nose, and 100% it can be life saving. Here's a little bit about the science and how it's blocking the receptors. And I am not a scientist, but I do think it's interesting to know a little bit about what we are providing. And administering it, just so you know, you think, oh my goodness, how could my son know how to do that? It's just you lay the person down, you spray it in one nostril, and then you can give them another dose if it doesn't seem to be helping in the other nostril, and then you stay with them, and your child does need to call 911. So we chose our teen's car because if you know, teenagers never are very far from their car. It's a nice central location and difficult to forget that it's in there. Since this works that way, it allows them to have speed because speed saves lives. We want to see that damage or the administration of Narcan as quickly as possible to avoid brain damage. Teens are first responders since these overdoses do happen with their friends present. And it's not about drug use. None of this is about drug use. This is just about the world is complicated. And so we're going to make sure that our sons have it. We also chose the fact of having it located in the car because if they were someplace and somebody else said that they needed it or they saw it on social media, they always knew where to go get it and it was readily available to be driven somewhere. So how can you and your family get Narcan? You could have your doctor send it to the pharmacy so that your insurance will cover it. You can also have it sent to like Amazon.com. Their pharmacies provide it for quite inexpensive. I think less than my current insurance does. You also can get some free doses of it, and you can go online to look for those in different locations. It really does depend, unfortunately, on your state and county. So you will just need to kind of Google where you can find it. And this, remember, is about education. It's not about distrusting your child at all. If anything, you're showing them that you do trust them by having this really complicated and hard conversation and opening that door that they can come and tell you these things, which is what we want with our teens. So we like to say that science, not stigma, saves lives. So, how do you have this conversation? Like I shared, we really started ours when they were really young, which is kind of the philosophy of Boy Wellness, is to kind of start that foundation so that when you're having these harder conversations, it's not so awkward. But if you are just starting to have these conversations with your child and maybe they're a little bit older, is you can, say, I love you so much. I want to arm you, against today's risks. Or you can also just say, I wish I had started talking to you about this sooner. Please forgive me if I'm awkward, and just kind of start going about it and always say that like this is an ongoing conversation, so you leave that door open to come back and maybe correct something that you said or to provide a bit more wisdom. And we're just going to bust a few myths here, right? We've covered some of these, and just reminders that carrying Narcan, the myth would be that carrying Narcan encouraged drug use. We know this is absolutely not true. Same with talking about suicidality. If you talk about suicide to your child, it actually reduces the risk of suicide. Same here. Only addicts need it. That is not accurate. 40% of overdoses occur in people that have no history of opioid use. Narcan is complicated and or dangerous. This is one of the best parts. That is false. Administering Narcan is simpler than CPR. So now you have a plan. You're going to go ahead and get Narcan at the store so that you can explain this and how you would like your child to be able to have this on them if needed. You're going to train. You could watch the quick video for the Narcan demo, and you're going to talk with your son, knowing that this is empowering him to save a life. Because the bottom line is knowledge is power. Because that child is going to have their friend lay down, they're going to spray, stay, and they're going to call 911. And I am really proud of you today for opening up your conversation with your child and acknowledging to yourself that it is okay if our kids are facing hard things, but we should be the ones that are helping them walk through it. I hope that you will comment below. Hope you will join us on Boy Wellness as we continue to discuss really hard conversations that we're walking through with our teen sons.